Hello. I just wanted to go through the review that you guys did yesterday as part of your asynchronous work. So I'm just going to go through the answers really quick. So double check your assignment against the answer key just to make sure that you were on the right track with all of these components of supply and demand. So for demand, the first thing you had to fill in was the definition of demand. So you should have something close to demand is the willingness and ability of consumers to purchase or buy a product. Next, it asked you about the law of demand. So the law of demand is that inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded. So as the price goes up, the quantity demanded of an item is going to decrease. And then as the price decreases, the quantity demanded will increase. And then the next two ask you to explain why the demand curve is downward sloping and to draw what a demand curve would look like. So I'm going to start with the graph. So make sure you have labeled price on your y-axis and quantity on your x-axis. And then the demand curve is always that downward sloping line. And then the reason why the demand curve is downward sloping is because of that inverse relationship between the price and quantity, which is the law of demand. So as the price decreases, the quantity demanded will increase. So here at this point at the top of the line, we have the highest price and the lowest quantity. And you see as the price decreases, the quantity is going to increase. And then the last part for demand were those 6 shifters of demand. So we have consumer taste. So remember, that is consumers' opinion towards a product. So for example, if they see a celebrity using a product, that is going to change consumer taste. So more people would want to buy that product. Expectations, which is what consumers expect to happen to the price in the future. So if the price of an item is expected to go up in the future, consumers are going to buy that product now while the product is cheaper. And then the opposite is true. So if the price is expected to drop in the future, consumers aren't going to buy the product now because it's more expensive. They're going to wait for when it is cheaper to buy in the future. Number of consumers. So remember, as the number of consumers that can buy the product increase, demand is going to increase. Substitutes. So substitutes are 2 items that are going to be interchangeable. So you're either going to buy one item or the other. So you're going to buy pumpkin pie or apple pie, or you're going to buy turkey or ham. So if the price of turkey goes up, people are going to be less likely to buy the turkey and more likely to buy the ham. So an increase in the price of turkey is going to lead to an increase in the demand for ham. Next, you have complements. So those are 2 items that are almost always going to be purchased together. So as the price of whipped cream goes up, the demand for pie is going to decrease, okay? Because you're not going to buy as much whipped cream, so you're not going to need as much pie. And then lastly is consumer income. So as consumer income falls, demand is going to fall. As consumer income goes up, demand is going to increase. And then going and looking at our second column here, which is supply. So you should have something close for the definition of supply to the willingness and ability of producers or sellers to manufacture or sell an item. For the law of supply, there is that direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. So as the price increases, the quantity supplied will increase. And as price decreases, the quantity supplied will decrease. So remember, the goal of a business is to make as much money as possible. So they want to sell as much of the item as possible at the highest price possible. And then looking at our graph and our explanation. So for your graph, again, you should have labeled price on the y-axis, quantity on the x-axis, and you should have that upward sloping line. And then the supply curve is upward sloping because of that direct relationship between price and the quantity supplied, as we stated in the law of supply. So on the graph, you can see as the price increases, the quantity supplied is also going to increase. And again, that goes back to the idea that businesses are out to make as much money as possible. So their goal is to sell the item at the highest price possible for the most quantity possible. And then lastly, our shifters of supply. So we have expectations, number of sellers, cost of resources, productivity, taxes and subsidy, regulations, and technology. So as we go through these practice problems, you are going to have to decide what the shifter is, and that will help you determine if it is a change in supply or a change in demand.